2024. This is the meeting of the Trinidad Historic Preservation Commission. And first on the agenda is the roll call.
All right. Derek?
Here.
Chris?
Here.
Matthew?
Here.
And Carlos is not here. All right. I don't think we can do the minutes though, can we? Because,
Do we need everyone?
well, yeah, we would need
Well,
Carlos because Matthew
Yeah,
wasn't
because you
here.
were- Yeah, so I guess we can move that to next month.
Okay.
Yeah, so number two, no public comments, and then we'll move the minutes to next month since we don't have a quorum. And then fourth on the agenda is public hearings, which we have none. And fifth for items for discussion, the first one being landmarking the train and the waterworks building. And I can give a little bit of an update of what I've been thinking about at least. And also just to fill you in for context, there's like a tour group or a company that does like organized rail tours, and they're doing this big Great Western rail tour thing this year where it's like 45 days and goes back and forth across different Amtrak routes. But I think it's mainly kind of like retired people and stuff. But anyway, they're coming through the Amtrak line here, and they have a 5-day layover here in Trinidad. And looking at their website, they have like a big section for each city and like links to all kinds of historical things. And so they're real into railroading and history and trains and stuff like that. So my thought was to try to landmark the steam train and then do like a ceremony that week sometime while they're here. And it's the week of Halloween.
Okay.
So it's it's far enough away. I think we can, organize it, and the weather should be nicer. And but I reached out to the contacts I could find for that company to try to get some information from them to try to at least, see if they have a schedule for their, I'm not sure what I guess people kind of do whatever they want, as far as when they're on a layover, but just wanted to kind of at least sync up with them. But either way, if I don't hear back, I think we should do it either way, just because it's cool. I think there's a lot of interest in it and a lot of local connections to it. So my thought was maybe to do, and hopefully have the painting, or at least have the sign maybe changed by then, and have a plaque created, and do like a little ceremony, kind of like we did with the Fox, like at the train. And then I also like to do like a little, kind of like we did with the Fox, do like a little informational presentation, because there's tons of cool history I've found. I've got old photos of it. I've found video of it running up in Denver, and I'm getting a DVD that has video of the last trip it took, because they basically donated to Trinidad, and they used to use it for excursion trips up and around Denver, but they had to do one last trip down here and left it here. So it'd be cool to kind of show some of that video. And another thing I found, which is really cool, was a set of like, I don't know if they're like maintenance diagrams or something, with their original from Colorado and Southern, and there's like a stack of sheets and a sheet for each sort of range, like class of locomotive. But I have one for that 638, like the original, whatever it is. So I like to scan that and blow it up and whatever. And so anyway, I also thought it'd be cool to try to tie it into some local people who have relatives that have worked for the Colorado Southern, or even worked on that train specifically, and maybe have someone talk or whatever. But anyway, those are some of my ideas, and I don't know exactly as far as, I guess, the timeline. We should probably try to get it on next month, or would it be okay?
No, I would definitely think next month, because if I remember right, it takes 2 readings for the city council.
Mm-hmm.
So if we did it next month in August, that would give them September to do the 2 readings.
Mm-hmm.
That would get us into October, so that would get us right on deadline.
Okay.
So I would say definitely we wanna shoot for having it on the next, so we would have to have it posted in the paper by the 25th of July.
Of this, okay.
When were we trying to do the waterworks?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that too.
Yeah, so that's where I was wondering too, cause we
Yeah,
were
we-
wanting to shoot for the last
Farmers market, right?
farmer's
Yeah,
market.
or the,
And I think theirs is,
Labor Day weekend, I think.
well, I think, yeah, well, no, cause
Or-
I think the last one was the last week of September,
Okay. Okay, I thought I think
is the last day of the,
I thought we talked about doing it. I guess that would be too soon though.
well, I don't know.
No, Labor Day is it is the last weekend of, so I think what we talked about last time was
It'd
Try
just
to-
be like 2 weeks apart.
try to do, what's it?
It'd just be like 2-3 weeks apart, the landmark.
6 weeks.
Hmm?
End of August and then middle of October.
No, end of September for the waterworks building.
Oh,
And then,
well, if we did it, or you're saying the last,
The last
Farmer's
farmer's
market
market
is the end
is
of-
the
okay,
last,
sorry, I
is
was
the
getting
end of
confused.
September.
yeah, okay,
I'm trying to
Um,
see if I could find the posting that it was.
well, I guess it'd be a whole month though, so.
yeah.
But could we get it in time to the city council?
That would be where the question was.
Well, my other question is who was gonna do the application for the water?
waterworks building?
Yeah,
I could see if I can get Keely's help for me to do it, and I can do it for
okay,
the waterworks building.
okay,
I just don't know if we're gonna be able to shoot and get it in and done before farmer's market ends.
yeah,
Cause I think their last meeting, or their last run is that Saturday of September, like the
yeah,
end of September.
that would make sense.
I mean, we don't have to do it with something else.
Well, I say we can, you know, try to do the, whatever. I mean, it gets later into the
Season.
season in terms of weather, but, we could still try to do the waterworks, like, November or something. It's not super, you know.
Doesn't have to
cold.
be an event around
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's
It's
true. Well, I mean,
just-
I think the thought was like, if we did it, it's easier to kind of draw an extra audience from, you know, if there's already something going on, so we could kind of go to the farmer's market and say, hey, we're gonna go, you know, after this, doing this ceremony or whatever, and, but, I don't know. Or we can do it next year, and try to do it next year during the water, festival or whatever. You know what I
The
mean?
Labor Day, the 4th of July water parade.
Yeah. try to-
Actually, that wouldn't even be a bad idea,
Maybe
really.
more thematically, and you could do like a water, whatever, like a water balloon fight or whatever.
Huh?
Does the parade go by then?
I'm not sure. I mean, we could also ask, talk to them and see about it, or,
Mhm.
I just don't wanna push it back though.
No.
I mean, the waterworks building was first on our list for.
we can
Yeah.
still do
Yeah,
it,
that's-
and
yeah.
we don't have to do it around an event. We can do it and then make an event of it,
Right.
Yeah,
if
we can just do just focus on the landmarking
Yeah.
and then worry about an event later.
I mean, they're pretty close together too, like the train
Physically,
and the waterworks building.
That's true.
yeah, this is kind of on the end of the park, really, so.
I
What
just
if
wish-
we did, what if we
I wish
could
there was
try
some
to.
way we could do like on Halloween
Mm,
and have like a pumpkin contest, you know what I mean, a pumpkin carving contest for the
That's
kids
not a
to
bad
show up.
idea.
I guess the question is if we could get if we could get if it's in time for, maybe we could try to get both of the, applications in next month, and then maybe do like 2 things that week,
Yeah.
even, because there's also gonna be the Halloween event, usually when they block off everything downtown and have
Yeah.
kids out, so that's I think that's is that a Thursday this year?
I don't know, it just depends on what day Halloween falls on.
That's what I'm trying to remember what day.
Yeah, Halloween falls on a Thursday.
Okay.
There's no school on Fridays, so.
That's true. Most
Oh,
of
really?
them. Homie was the only one that has school Friday, they have no school Monday,
Okay.
so they would be out of school. I don't know, we can see I don't see why we couldn't do both at the same time.
Yeah, just kind of have a, have a week of whatever
Yeah.
events and,
Uh-oh, Carlos got mad.
No, it's Keely.
It was like Carlos got mad and said, no, we can't do both of them.
I don't see why not. If he's working on the train one, I can see about working on the one for. Hi, Keely, can you hear us?
Hello.
I
Okay, good.
can. Hi.
We're not quite to you yet, if you bear with us.
No worries.
We're talking about the next buildings or things we're gonna landmark, and we're going to landmark the steam train over here by City Hall, as well as the Waterworks building. And we were talking about how we would how to schedule those. So anyway, what do we? I think if we just try to get the 2 applications in, move those forward, we can we don't have to really determine the details of that week or whatever. We can kind of
Yeah, we've got
start
plenty of
working
time
on
for
that
that.
next month. So
So yeah, I can work on the Waterworks building landmark application. I'll probably bug Keely for it to get her help. But if I'll send you the application so that you can do the train. And then as long as we can get them both in the paper, and we don't have to have the application fully ready for me to
just
post
has
it
to
in
be
the
in the
paper.
paper. Okay, I was gonna say
Yeah.
this the 20 is what the 25th is
Next
week. So,
week, yeah.
but the application doesn't have to be done until the meeting. Right?
Yeah,
So,
we would just have, well, before, the week before, so that I can get the packets together and get them
Okay.
to you guys.
okay.
So we have time, I think, to get them ready for it, but I will post them in the paper, by the 25th, so that we can have them on the agenda in August.
Awesome.
So not a problem.
Okay. Anything else on the landmarking topic? Cool. Then the next item for discussion is introduction of our new board member, I'm sorry, Matthew Neff. I can read, I promise. But anyway, we're glad to have you here, and
Yep, glad to be here.
you want to maybe introduce yourself and
Yeah,
tell us a little about yourself?
yeah, Matthew Neff. I guess a little bit about me is I used to do archaeology full time. Now I do construction, and just happy to help out.
Cool. What is your, I guess, kind of interest in the local? Do you have any specific interest in like anything around Trinidad, or in terms of?
Well, I think the history of Trinidad is very interesting. I especially like the kind of initial development of Trinidad, going
Yeah.
from kind of
Yeah.
stopover with, Mexican or American traders and folks moving around, combined with the indigenous population, so they use that, and it's, how it slowly grew into being, more of a town with the fort here, and, all the aspects of the mining.
Yeah.
So yeah, really early settlement, I guess.
Yeah.
is what
Excuse me. Have you read that book, Colorado or Trinidad, Colorado Territory?
No, I haven't.
That's right up there. That's what you want to do is read that. You can get it at the library. It's an older book, and the originals cost a lot, but they have a reprint at the library that's like $25, and it's really good. It's basically the period like pre-settlement
Right.
up to statehood. So it's really helped, really informed me a lot. I've kind of branched off that and researched other things, and a lot of the resource or the things that he quotes from are historic newspapers that you can also look. You can see the actual source online.
Okay.
There's a really good source for that. So anyway, I'm getting off topic, but we're glad to have you here, and look forward to working with you.
That's it.
I don't know if there's any process for this, but any questions you have for us about the board or anything?
Not as of yet. I'm sure there'll be. I'm sure I'll have questions.
Yeah, you did get the welcome packet or whatever. Cool. We talked about updating that process, but we never really did, I guess.
We never got to the finished part of
Yeah.
it. We talked about it, we never got the finished part of
Wait,
it.
whatever happened to the certificate? Wasn't I supposed to get a certificate?
That you'd have to talk to Desiree about. I do not hand those out. And I don't know why you didn't get sent one. But she is changing, Desiree is changing the process. She's going to start doing an orientation for each individual new board member. So she'll be reaching out to you shortly.
Oh, you're the lucky one.
Yeah.
Wow. He says something.
I just heard that today, so they
Official
just
sacrifice.
started it, so.
Well, you're getting more than we got, so.
Sometimes that's not,
We
all
might
that
have
great.
questions for you.
Cool. Right on. We'll move on then to new business, and we have Keely Williams going to talk to us about architectural styles within the Corazon de Trinidad. So we can turn it over to you, Keely.
Can she hear us?
We don't. I don't.
No,
Your audio might be. You might be muted.
I think you muted yourself, Keely.
I did. I'm muted now. Okay, so I think I might I'll keep it kind of short because I think I'm just talking at you. But I printed out some I've sent some materials. I don't know if y'all saw those.
I didn't even get
We
anything.
didn't know, we couldn't look at him.
I thought we got him
They were
last
from,
month.
it was from a couple weeks ago.
It was last month.
That's okay
Like
though.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, it was from last, and I sent you, you know what?
I couldn't
What if
open those
share?
We couldn't open them on our end.
Can she screen
I
share
think she's
on
gonna
here?
try.
If it might
I'm
have to
gonna
be.
try.
It might have to be enabled.
Ooh. Google Drive. Will it work? Can you see my little drive?
Yes.
We gotcha.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Well, okay, so let me start by saying this before we go into these drives. So, you know, when you're reviewing or when you're presenting for historic preservation, like, it's super subjective, right? It's like a very subjective process where there's a lot of like feelings, emotions, and just general sentiments involved. And it's hard to like craft your argument based on like cold hard facts because history is kind of it's just subjective. So but when we try to look at these projects, we want to get it to a little bit more of an objective state. And so that's I think what I just wanted to share with you today is how we can like be considerate in our presentations for me as the presenter or y'all as the reviewer to customers because it's hard to navigate this process. And so I think people will be looking to you guys and you know, and you're going to want to develop like a finesse for and being sensitive to their application needs. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to say a little piece on that. And then I wanted to talk about revival styles. And I wanted to talk about eclecticism. So you guys can see this, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, field guide. Ooh. I wanted to go to page 85. Okay, here we go. Wait. Sorry. I want to go to page 85 because if we get to page 85, we can see the second. So these are all a lot of the 20th century revival styles. And I'll resend you guys this folder and I'll unzip it so that you can get it. But you can kind of see all these different Colorado revival styles. And this was put together by the Colorado Historical Society. So Dutch, colonial, Edwardian, definitely we've got some stuff in town that's got Edwardian features. It tells you in this brief like what the common elements are. So it's a multi-gabled roof. And I feel like a lot of times with architecture and historic preservation, it's about like learning this vocabulary that you never had before. You know, like what's the gable? You know, like this is the gable. This is that kind of comes out from, you know, at a different angle from the already angled roof. You know, this is one pitch, and then this is the gable over to the left. Okay, what is this? What style is this again? Edwardian. Okay, keep going. Edwardian. These are more found in Denver. Some of these English Norman cottages. And then what I really wanted to get to was down here. Sorry.
I think you can
Oh,
type.
okay, good. You can't see. There we go. Almost there. Ooh, Renaissance revival. Yeah. So this is a Beaux-Arts revival style that was based on like the 18th century Beaux-Arts movement. Renaissance revival. Oh, we've got a lot of Richardson Romanesque revival in Trinidad down here. You can see like a lot of the sandstone and large masonry blocks, a lot of arches, kind of like with this little turret detail and castle-like details. Richardsonian Romanesque here with the arches. Okay, now I want to skip down because I want to go to Second Empire. Okay, so I just wanted to take a look at Second Empire here because here we know this is the Bloom Mansion in Trinidad, and this is an example. So this is an example of like a kind of a revival, like French European revival style, and it has the mansard roof. So anytime you see the mansard roof, you know you're probably Second Empire style. The revival styles took place from let's call it 1905, or maybe a little bit earlier, up until about 1930, and then they phased out after that. And the reason that I wanted to just talk a little bit about them was because this is the period of significance for the core zone. So everything in Trinidad is almost everything is that revival style. And what it means is it's classical styles that were revived and, I guess for lack of a better term, copied. And then it wasn't just like an effort to copy. It was an effort to make it eclectic. And so you took elements. So in this picture, you see a lot of like detailed elements that you might also see in Italianate style, or you might see them in classical style. You see kind of Greek classical pediment here in the front, but then down here you're going to see like more of a Victorian or Queen Anne detail along the balustrade. And then you've got these little jaggedy things on the corner here. That's called pointing, which is like makes it look strong. And then you've got the mansard roof, which is Second Empire, and then you've got sort of these little detailings in the middle, like on the railings and up on the roof that are kind of Italianate. So it ends up all of these different styles that mash together in what we call eclectic. And so that's what a lot of this you'll see. So if you're walking by So if you were an immigrant, you were coming over from Europe, you would learn about some of these different styles almost immediately because of the sharing of ideas and the sharing of elements and print media and transportation. And so as all these things kind of became, industrialized, we got more and more eclecticism in architecture. And then everybody got sick of it around like 1940. And they didn't want to copy styles anymore. They didn't want to take specific styles and mash them together and make an eclectic style. They wanted a more modern philosophy. And that doesn't mean it's not historic, because it is, it's its own era of mid-century modern. But it was a little bit different than how an architect designed those buildings and the cultural approach as to before 1940 or before 1935. And so most of the buildings that you guys are going to be looking at is going to be that pre-1935. And so, you're going to be focusing on those eclecticism, revival styles, and how people can adapt these buildings to be compatible. Because sometimes you can have an addition to a building and it doesn't necessarily have to look like the rest of the building. In fact, like, it would be better if it didn't, because it makes the actual historic building stand out more. So that was just my little, ditty that I wanted to share about revival styles and eclecticism for the core zone. And you know what else we could do? We could look at the waterworks and we could analyze it based on its style, if you want.
Sure.
Sure.
You
Okay,
can
all
pull it
right,
up
hold
on-
on. I'm gonna reshare. Share, Trinidad, waterworks, share. Okay. Okay, so I didn't formally research this, so I'm kind of riffing a little bit. This is really cool. This is if you haven't done the audio tour for Trinidad, you should, because it's really fun. And the waterworks building is on that, so you're not going to get a lot of architectural significance language in there, but you're going to get a lot of really fun history. This building, for example, was privately owned by Chappelle, Delos Chappelle, who also, the Chappelle House where Murphy Funeral Home is, so it was private water service until the city bought it in the 1890s. And it was an alternative to buying water that was basically like buckets of water from the river, or like somebody that brought like water up by a mule. This was actually piped into your house. And this is one of the last remaining like waterworks buildings in the country of this era. So it's pretty significant from that alone. And then I think the architecture is cool too, because you have these really, really steep roofs, steep pitches. You've got a little bit of a gable coming off the front. You've got really, really good sandstone that's in great shape. And the mortar is like, I forget the name of it, but it's the type of mortar that's like, instead of coved, it comes out, which is interesting and kind of rare. The coining on the edge here is a little bit pronounced on the left side. And then you've got these incised, kind of scribed headers at the doors, which is very interesting. I'm sure that the roof was probably, I'm going to go with it was probably tin. And it was probably a decorative tin shingle at the beginning, but now it looks like it's updated. And you just if you start to really pick apart all the different elements, this is more of a utility building, so it doesn't have like the embellishments, but it certainly has like, we looked briefly at Richardsonian Romanesque. It's got those castle-like, lintels above the windows and masonry sills, and then coining on the side. So it kind of has this pointed, this like kind of castle that's architecture to it. But okay, so that's So then that's kind of, I guess, where my mind goes in terms of analyzing the architecture, is really breaking down the elements and what's there. And, you know, what was something added over time here? Well, we know the roof was. We know the roof isn't original, so that's not part of the theory of significance, but the overall form of the roof was probably there. And I'm sure we have some historic photos somewhere. We can find them. But when you're looking at the, you know, when you're going to do the, okay, now I'm going to stop sharing again. And now I want to talk to you. Stop it. I'll share. Okay. So when you're going to do this landmarking, you know, you're going to want to analyze the architectural significance of it. And then you're going to want to look at the historical significance of it. And they don't both have to be significant to landmark. But in this case, I think they probably are.
So the roof, that
What do you think?
that doesn't change anything?
No, the roof wouldn't change anything, because the roof would have had to be, for the maintaining of the building, it would have had to been updated in order to keep the building protected. So that would be under repairs, that would, maintenance, that would have had to have been done to the building. So that wouldn't mess with the historical relevance of the building, if I
And
could.
do we know when the
That's
roof
right.
was put on, or?
I can check and see, because we've owned it, so it would be under our records, so I can see when it was done.
And remember, with rehabilitation, you know, buildings change over time, and that's okay.
Mhm.
You know, they can take on different periods of significance over their lifetime, and often they do. You know, Trinidad's kind of rare because we have a lot of things that are like they were, look just like they were, you know, 100 years ago. So, but elements have been added, and so property owners will make decisions about that. Maybe they'll have an historical photo and they'll say, well, I want to take this back to what it originally looked like, and I want to rehabilitate it back to here. Or you could have the option of not doing that and just say, well, this is part of its history over time, and we're going to leave this. And you kind of, that's where it's subjective, right? Because you're like, well, what, like you're looking at the character of the building, you're looking at the history of it over time, how it's been modernized. So it gets a little bit subjective.
Well, yeah, I
And
know.
you kind of at the day have to make a decision, okay, is this compatible with the rehabilitation or not, you know?
I know we weren't able to do Central Park because they didn't rehabilitate it.
No, they didn't rehabilitate it at all. They had to
They just upgraded it.
they had to upgrade it for ADA accessibility, and so that they had to change a lot of the buildings and the properties in order to do so. So that's the reason why that one was voted as not to landmark it, because it wasn't rehabilitated, it was upgraded.
So that roof is not an
And I
upgrade?
think you could
That's not-
still have it be historically significant. I mean, even if it's not that architecturally significant, you could find parts of it, the layout of it, the plan of it that is historically significant, perhaps, that you found interesting. But you could probably landmark it just based on historical significance alone.
Can we landmark
We
the
see
whole?
that with musicians.
Can we landmark the
in,
whole
the
park
world
as like
all the
a?
time.
Sorry.
Chris had
I
a,
don't know. Is it possible to landmark the whole park, like as a area?
Yeah, absolutely. We have fields in New Orleans that were battlefields that are just grass, and
Because,
they are historic
Yeah,
landmarks.
Central Park used to be
You
like a
want
private.
historical.
It used to be a private park with all kinds of entertainment, different things you could do, and waterfalls and all these things. I've got some cool old postcards and stuff from it, so it might be cool to try to do it, not just include all the parts of it. You know what I mean?
it's a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think what it does is it makes it a landmark. You know, you probably have a plaque there, so people know that it is a landmark. And it makes it a site, and it makes it so that it's like, let's say some evil developer comes in and wants to tear it all down and make it into housing. You can say, well, wait a second. Back in 2024, we landmarked this, and we landmarked it for these reasons. And so it allows for that discussion before, you know, something was said,
Yeah.
before it was to be developed in something else. So I think there's a great argument for Central Park. I just think it's historical, not architectural as much.
That's great information, thank you.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
appreciate that,
Yeah.
that the historical style guide that you posted. I'm looking forward to looking at that
Oh, yeah.
because I've been really wanting to, like you said, have acquire the language to be able to talk about buildings and features in different ways and have a better understanding. I bought a few books, but that one looks really cool because it's obviously specific to Trinidad or Colorado properties. So yeah, thank you a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, and I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
and
Appreciate
I
you
know it's
coming.
very colloquial. So like when I was in historic preservation school, we would have these drawings of houses, and then we would have like labels of pointing to the architectural element, and we'd have to fill in what it was. And it was like the best test because you had to like memorize all of these like vocabulary words. But what was so interesting was that it's different from the Colorado guide because it's colloquial. So Coloradans say one thing and Louisianans say call the same thing another thing.
Oh, interesting.
Les
Right.
bon temps roulé.
Well,
Yeah, le vieux ponton roulé.
I guess it's not specifically the Corzine district, but like over like Colorado and San Juan, like over there by the college and stuff, you can really see the eclectic, diversity of the styles because it'll go like Victorian to ranch to, Italian, whatever. So I think it's really cool.
The Wright brothers have so many different buildings, and it's like you'll see one and you'll be like, huh, that's a Wright building, because you'll see another one and it's totally very different in terms of style. So they think they have like 30 or 40 buildings in Trinidad
Really?
that Wright brothers.
I did not know they do the county courthouse.
Yeah.
I knew
I
that.
did not know that they did that
I
one.
read it was like yes, 1898 to 1902 or something. It was like a 3 year span. They designed 30 buildings. They did just in the 3 years from one of the books, the Rap and Rap, biography book. But that was including like schools, barns, houses, even coke ovens. It said, churches. So they really did everything. But
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, whenever people come to town, they're like, is it a Wright building? I'm like, it might be a Wright building.
Mhm.
I look it up. Very, very, very much could be.
Yeah. Very cool. Cool. Well, I guess we can wrap that up and move on to our reports.
Wrap that up. Get it?
Oh yeah,
We can wrap that up.
that was probably a subconscious thing I just did there. I didn't mean to do it on purpose, but I don't know, do you want to hang on for a second, Keely, or there's one thing I was going to mention that might be good to have you here, but so we're moving on to reports, and the first one being the chairperson's report. That would be Carlos, but
And he's not here.
he's not here. I'll go ahead as vice chair. I kind of gave most of my, kind of update as far as the training stuff I was doing, but I remembered something else I had thought about that might be cool to maybe we could do it that week or some other time was to organize like a walk with the board where we walk around downtown or some other certain areas and do like a public thing where we talk to people about different buildings and the history and the architectural details. And I don't know if maybe that was something that you would like to be involved in, Keely, if you would feel like it. So I feel like you would be a good
Yeah, sounds
resource
great.
for that. But my thought, I've been thinking about trying to develop a railroad history walking tour, and I kind of have a target for myself to try to get that done before this before October. But we could do different ones, different themes, or maybe different members could talk about research and learn about a specific building or group of buildings to talk about. But it's just a possibility I had for a future idea. I think we're doing something like that with the urban.
I love that.
I think we're doing something like that with the urban forestry board, like a hike with the board. So that kind of gave me the idea we could maybe do it.
That's a good idea.
And later, like in October or whatever, when it's cooler. So, but anyway.
If you do it in October, maybe we could do all the haunted ones.
Oh, that would be a great idea. Yeah, I don't know. don't know if you were here, if I've told you, but so there's this company that does like these railroad tours. I guess maybe for like retired people, but there's this huge tour they're doing this year where it's like 45 days and 10,000 miles, and it goes back and forth across the country in different Amtrak routes. But they're coming down through, the Southwest Chief route, and they have a layover here in Trinidad for 5 days. And so what the company does is they basically rent out a Amtrak sleeper car and then sell spots on the car. And so these are people that are paying like thousands of dollars to take these trips, and so they're really into railroading and history and everything. And the website has a section for each town. For Trinidad, it has links to every historical thing and city governments and local, everything. So I've been talking about we're talking about trying to do the landmarking of the train, doing a ceremony of it while they're here that week. They're here the week of Halloween. So my thought was maybe try to do a landmarking and then like kind of a informational thing, kind of like we did with the Fox Theater. But then we also talked about maybe trying to do the waterworks at the same time, or do a ceremony for it at the same time. But maybe we can also have a whole kind of week of events and do that walking tour while this group is in town from out of town. But maybe too much to try to do all at once, but
Doesn't hurt to try.
Well, I'll mentally make a space for it and
Okay.
remember that that's happening. Maybe I'll send you an email too and get some more details on the train folks.
yeah, I'm trying to. I haven't heard back from them. I've reached out to them a couple of times, trying to make contact, and so we can kind of sync up on scheduling and stuff. But I'm gonna keep trying. But I'll send you a link to their site and everything. So, yeah, I know. Actually, the first thing I saw about, I think the Chamber of Commerce posted something about it. So I don't know if they've maybe been in touch with them. Maybe I'll reach out to them and see if they've contacted them or something. But anyway, that's pretty much all I had for my reports.
Okay.
And then other commissioners' report. If you have
Yeah,
something.
From that webinar that I watched, it was saying that that as preservationists, we have to bring ourselves to the table, basically. So we have to go to city council meetings, we have to go to the planning and zoning meetings, and make sure that they are using our buildings that are already made. Like, for example, we have this biofuel company coming,
Yes.
and they're planning on building a 100 building unit or 100 unit building.
They're building
or
a
something.
40, on 40 acres, they are building a 20-acre building.
For what? How many units? You don't know?
Just one building, one gigantic building, it's a warehouse.
No. To house these people who are planning on moving.
No,
I heard they were
they're
building
giving
a-
us 90, they're doing 90 jobs from here.
No,
It's opening 90, they're not bringing people.
they're not bringing people
No.
in?
No.
Okay, well,
I've been speaking to her, we're helping her to try to find a location. They can't use one of our pre-existing buildings, we're trying, because they need one right on the railroad, one right next to the railroad tracks. We don't have one that's big enough for them so they have to build one.
I thought I heard something about apartment buildings being built
No, we have apartment buildings being built,
for that. That's what I heard.
not for
just-
that. She's bringing
Well,
90 jobs
that's-
here.
That's the thing, is they were saying we don't need to build new units because these units are gonna drive up housing costs.
We only have one apartment building that was built, that's it.
The one on 7th Street.
Yeah.
Is it?
But anyway, we should focus on rezoning some of these downtown buildings. Like going into the planning and zoning and saying, hey, we need to get some of these buildings rezoned into residential so we can have,
They're mixed use, all of our buildings downtown are mixed use,
well, this is,
commercial,
I'm
residential.
not, this is what was
Our buildings
reported.
downtown are all mixed use.
This is
They're-
what was reported that I'm
Yeah.
reporting on. And alternate permit procedures, balance need for housing by focusing on exteriors of buildings. So it was saying that, remember what was it, the golf course that
Mhm.
came and they wanted to put a light out and we were like, oh, can we do that?
Mhm.
They were saying we need to stop focusing on that kind of stuff. It's the building that we're preserving. If they wanna put lights and stuff out, then yes, we should let them. If they wanna upgrade their interiors with, better heating and stuff, we should allow that. That we should focus more on just the building, not the guts of it, you know what I
Or
mean?
the security you're
Right.
talking about, yeah.
Sorry. Protect renters through restoration versus new buildings, retention, retaining, preservation. Can't build new and have cheap rent. That's true. New ways to be. It was saying that like downtowns are like high density, so we can have a lot more housing in downtown areas, you know. I'm sorry, I should have typed this out.
We have some, like Keely's actually working on a building that's gonna be opening up for housing.
And they said track demolitions.
Yes,
We
we
need
do.
to track demolitions like that building that was tore down, like the brewery,
Mhm.
that nobody came to us and they just tore it down. We need to find out who's doing this, why they're doing it, and all that. And yeah, just put ourselves in the table, basically. Go to these meetings and find out what's going on, try to, you know, use what we're a CLG, so like we're supposed to be in it.
More involved, yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that's what Elizabeth was saying when,
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of it comes down to people's ability to commit to more meetings and, you know what I mean? But I think it's a good idea. I think maybe if as a group we could, you know, try to commit to at least one of us going to one other meeting.
yeah,
once
we
a
were
month.
supposed to, weren't we?
We've talked about it before, but I don't think we've made any solid
Commitments,
plans. But, maybe we could put it on like the agenda next time to identify which committees or, you know, other boards that
Well,
we
planning
would
and
be.
zoning is,
Well, but also there's like the Main Street, like, 'cause we also wanna be involved, I think, in kind of
the main
Main
street.
Street stuff, so I guess maybe it's just those, but,
Well, I know city council and planning and zoning is definitely,
yeah, city
Amongst.
council, yeah.
They
Yeah.
didn't have a meeting this month.
I also just wanna applaud y'all because, you know, by having your events, by doing things like what you did with the Fox West landmarking, you've got a lot of people out. And you've got a lot of people talking, and then you've got a lot of people from different boards understanding what you were doing. So I think by taking that action, you know, that you got the mayor to speak, I think that you guys are doing really, really well with that. And, yeah, I'm excited for some of your ideas for, you know, when you are getting out there and getting out there with your own initiatives,
Mhm.
I think you're attracting, those other boards and those other people and those other conversations. And then you start to hear more about what's going on.
Mhm.
So I really applaud your efforts in that.
Thank you.
On that note, I wanted to give you guys good news. I already told Chris and Matthew, but our first round of flyers going out already got calls
oh, nice,
about people wanting to landmark.
nice.
She's gonna try and get an application in by August for her house, which is 212 West Second. She said it's already on the national registry, but she wants to get it locally landmarked. She also said she has 3 or 4 other people that she would like to bring forward to have them landmark their places.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
So that was just from the first round. So the next round of letters will go out at the end of the month.
There's 2 rounds.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
cool.
cut it in half, so they do half now at the beginning of the month and half at the other end of the month. So they already sent out our first flyers.
That's great.
So I had to unfold all of them.
Unfold.
Because they use a folding machine downstairs, and I did
Oh.
not know this, so now I've
Oh,
learned
no.
from previous. Do not have pre-folded letters go
Yeah.
downstairs. So my kids helped me unfold
Oh,
4,000 forms. I put them to work. But, no, but it was good news that the first set of flyers, I mean, she wanted information, she wanted to know why landmarking, which I gave her all that information, and, she already sent her an application, so she said she'll get that into us. So
That's
hopefully
awesome.
she'll make it before the deadline, if not, it'll be in September, but
Yeah.
she's excited about it, so.
It's great that we're
Yay!
it's great that we're already seeing results from that,
Mhm.
because we've been looking for ways to, you know, reach out to the public or, you know, have more interaction. So like what you're saying, Keely, I think the event and doing more events is really great, and then that mailer gives us a lot more visibility. So,
Yep.
very cool.
Sweet.
Did you have any other reports?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, I think we can adjourn and call it a day.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all. Thanks,
Thank you for
Keely.
coming.